orient.
Dr. Mirkin, you sound fantastic, and I can see your desktop. Looking forward to a good QA session here.
Well, buddy, all I can tell you is this. Today's people in our webinar are going to feel like this could be the best webinar they've ever heard anywhere, including those TED Talks. We're going, if this was a breakdance, tonight, you and I, Brad, are going down against the TED Talkers. It's the TIers versus the TED Talkers. So prepare, ladies and gentlemen, to get your mind blown. Brad, you too.
All right, I'm ready.
Before we start, I know everyone's excited, and I like to roll out of the gate on fire, as you know. But for the same purposes that people put disclaimers on screens telling you it's professional driver on a closed course, we also must provide a disclaimer telling you that the information you are going to be hearing today is of the educational variety, and nothing is a offer to buy or sell securities. Please consult a registered investment advisor who probably is also using trade ideas, and if not, he should be, in terms of advice. This is not advice, this is educational. Brad, are you ready?
I am ready. I'm sitting.
Okay, I'm trying to find my mouse. You are reading this. I'm going to start. First of all, this is breaking news, by the way. I believe it's like really current, like yesterday or today or something like that. So I'm going to read this out loud, and everyone can follow together. The democratization of information, Brad, has made it much harder for active management. We have to change the ecosystem. That means relying more on big data, artificial intelligence, factors, and models within quant and traditional investment strategies. An even more startling admission was made by Mark Wiseman, the man Fink hired last year. Fink is the guy who runs BlackRock. BlackRock is a private equity firm, otherwise known as unlimitedmoney.com. This is what Wiseman said. The old way of people sitting in a room, picking stocks, thinking they are smarter than the next guy, that does not work anymore. Yes, you read that correctly. Traditional stock picking no longer works. What you are about to see has nothing to do with traditional stock picking, but I will tell you this. Brad Williams, the traditional stock picker is the guy running our 401k. The guy who's vehemently typing on his LinkedIn profile and working for Steve Cohen. You know the guys.
I know the guys.
The portfolio managers who Brad and I found out through the school of what we call the $50 million education, which we'll discuss later. For the best part of 30 years, everybody traded on what kind of information, Brad?
Insider information.
Insider information. Simply access to people that people without any money didn't have access to. Brad, would you like to know another name for insider information? I think it's kind of synonymous. It's elite information, because only a few in the elite get access to it. That is the way the traditional hedge fund model worked, and they gave fancy names for it, called soft dollar, for example. A slimy dollar maybe is another way you could have done it, but the point being is that the way that they did it no longer works, and we've known at Trade Ideas since 2003 that traditional stock picking really never worked. Why does it not work, Brad? Well, it doesn't work because when you put it up against the large numbers, what you realize is one moving average cross that looked amazing to you looks like shit 70% of the time. But you would have to gone through a lot of iterations to find that out. And people are lazy, especially hedge fund people. So that whole game has never been the case. And for individual investors, what we're going to show you is there's really only one way to do it right. Only one way. And we are the ones bringing it to you. I know, Brad, it sounds bold, but wait till I wrap it all up.
I know you'll bring it together.
You know, buddy. By the way, remember all the links to these, they're up top and you'll get them in the handouts. So we are part of not just people trying to speculate and make money. We are DNA in an ecosystem. And what I mean by that is here's a research company that, of course, is an affiliate partner of ours, and for a good reason, because they use our technology to data mine information so as that people who are interested in it can see the why. I always say that the trade is done before the why, but I'll tell you what, knowing the why sure does help confirm things, maybe help you put more money in it, perhaps. But the point is, look right here.
Longer.
Exactly. But here it is, prompting our partners with trade ideas to alert us to the movement. We are, and this is not the only example of it, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to paint to you guys a bigger picture. We aren't just a scanner or Yahoo Finance. We are the technology that's showing people where to focus to find alpha. And alpha is something that can only be done in one way when all things, Brad, are being done equally. So why are you listening to me? Incredibly handsome fellow with dogs being talked about in newspapers. Well, you're listening to me because I, being the CEO of Trade Ideas, happen to have been one of the very, just like there's a couple of people that get to play in the NBA. Brad and I are two of those people in the stock trading sense of the world. And, some of them hang out together, like Charles Barkley and Magic Johnson hang out. So do Brad and Dan, and we happen to work together. But we were one of the few people that were able to understand the mechanics of using a data advantage all throughout the life of being an active investor. And to people who don't have insider information, data advantage is the only thing that you have. There's two types of data advantage. There's network data advantage, like for example, imagine if you're stuck on a highway in traffic and all of a sudden you realize that there's nobody next to you in the carpool lane and you actually have your daughter with you. Of course she doesn't drive, Brad, I swear this never really happens, but you pump into the carpool lane and just take off, blown by everybody in traffic. Brad, did I mention that probably never happens?
Never ever happen.
Probably never. But the point being is that's what using a information advantage does. And that's what we did. We were the specialists in advantageous information. But the mainstream, the elite, they do not like for the little guy to start making money where he's on vacation. They like little guys to work in cubicles. So they took away these systems. This one was called the SO system, then it followed by the SuperDot system. And so they made it so that the only way to make money was really to be able to dig into the data. And that's where we come in. We are Trade Ideas, the bringers of the only bringers of artificial intelligence for data mining and investment speculation to the masses, to you, not to the hedge fund elites, but to you guys, the individuals. We are doing this because we were you, as in per that picture, like let's see, Brad, if I was like an elite hedge fund guy, I'd have been in an office looking out of my window in Manhattan, probably been a fish tank, right?
Yeah, but I don't know that would have been much better.
No, I'm saying it would have been worse. I'm trying to say I can't fake it. I'm under my own desk in my house office. Come on.
That's right. That's as good as it gets.
No elitism here. Trust me. So here we are as we launched our technology, and I'll explain to you why this is happening, because this is the critical part, because we have unmasked the only way to do it, okay? After being in the business for over 10 years, and after having our own technology called the Odds Maker, we decided to basically put ourselves to task. We said, listen, guys, if we can't do it, it can't be done. And it was really after philosophically doing the kind of research about what the MIT card counting team did and how to really beat or at least do the best that you can do that got us to this shift. I forgot the phrase, Brad, but it's like they say that sometimes brilliance rides on the shoulder of the unreasonable man. if you looked at all the science and you listen to all the people, quote unquote, that know everything, of course you think everything is random and the market can't be beaten. But we've never been those type of people, ever, because of the pictures of me under my desk. We've been working to speculate and to have an advantage since, we got out of college. And through those years, especially after what we told you, where the fat cats have figured out you can't pick stocks based on fundamentals because fundamentals are too damn slow. Everyone's got that information now. You cannot be a stock picker on information, Brad, that gets updated quarterly. Do we not agree?
Yeah, or information that you get being a subscriber to Investor Business Daily or something like that.
Well, I mean, even they at least add some price action to the mix, but just being on this religiously fundamental approach is basically insane because, again, you have no informational edge since everybody's data is out there.
But and you're not going to find what's moving right now. That's what we're looking for.
At the very least, you would have to interact it with the price data, and have some ratios bouncing off of each other to say, hey, is there a heartbeat, quote unquote. So the whole point of what we did is that we, over the years, have built upon our speculative desires and created an infrastructure that allows us to look at a stock on every time frame at the same time and count cards. Basically, what we do is we say, okay, well, how many times did this stock from this point in time go up to this point in time over this many days? And how many times did this exact same thing happen on other things that look just like it? And basically, instead of trying to, quote unquote, beat the market, we just started to ask good questions like, market, where are the pockets of probability? Are there any pockets of probability? And what we said is there's very good technology like Monte Carlo and things like that allow you to kind of remove the noise from your own data. So that's what we decided to do. We decided to say, you know what, we are going to do the thing that they say can't be done. Beat the market with big data. And our approach, scientifically speaking, is the only approach you can take because, very simply, any other approach is a random guess. That's what these guys are saying. You can't sit there in a room looking at a chart knowing that Ted, a house from you, is also looking at the same chart and think that you've got an advantage over Ted. You can't do it. So we are giving you the only edge. And again, we're the only company that does this thing right now. One of the ways that we help everybody understand what we do is not only through technology, but through a community. Barry Anderson, who is assisting me on this webinar, who's a fantastic guy and is a moderator of our trading room, not to be confused with the chat room, because it's not about chatting, it's about trading, and Barry will tell you that. But this is one of the ways that I think for the last 8 months, or however long we've had the room. Brad, have we had it over a year now? Maybe we've had it over a year.
We've had it about 16 months.
Okay, see, as we get older, time flies, and I don't know exactly, but we have a very live, vibrant community that functions as a meritocracy and really lifts up everybody. The room is completely free to everyone here. So all of you who have never seen Trade Ideas and have never spent money on financial service subscriptions, you don't need to start by paying money. We are free. And what we do there is we create an audible and visual idea stream based on our own data, kind of like we are in essence the breaking news. And as a result, Brad, and as a result, I got a little spider in my throat. And as a result, the on-ramping process when you do decide, if you ever do decide to have a subscription, is a lot easier because you see the community, you see that everything is kind of supported.
Are you okay?
I'm okay. I got so excited earlier, you know. So I'm going to minimize the PowerPoint and jump right into what gets all of us pretty excited. Okay, so first let's make sure. Can you see what I'm showing you?
Yes. You're sharing your desktop.
Okay, let's see if I can do this. So this is the thing that's not stock picking the way Bob's doing it next to you. Okay, this is our big data engine, Holy Grail, as in this is the holy grail of trading. If you are going to be a speculator and you honestly are honest with yourself, your checkbook, your wife, and mathematics, you will understand that our way is the only scientifically viable way. We have hunting algorithms. There's approximately 50 of them, and what they are is ways to describe ways in which stocks move up or down. So let's look at, for example, the recent movement in this stock, DFFN, which I was very glad to participate in. So here you have a movement where there's two things happening, a decline and a reversal, and of course, Brad, lots of breakouts, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of breakouts. So there's a lot of different ways that an AI would be analyzing this kind of behavior, especially after it comes on the engulfing behavior of this behavior, which possibly was the first kind of wave of percolation to let you know that something is going on. By the way, that something is a new patent. And I'm pretty sure that that partner that we showcased earlier did a story on that as well.
But you know what, Dan, that's a pattern that I see. I mean, not every day, but I see this pattern all the time, right? Where you've got something that almost looks like it's dead, it gets that thump of that heartbeat back, and then kind of peters off until it explodes again.
And this behavior happens several different times.
Yeah.
You can see it. And here's the reason, because let me just talk about this. So this is again, part of the awakening, everybody. If you weren't paying attention before, you need to be paying attention now. Large corporations, this is the part, Brad, that should get this podcast going viral. So large corporations, by definition, cannot do anything innovative. Not Microsoft, not really Apple, not Samsung. They can copy, they can kind of further push, but they don't. It's not in the behavioral DNA of a large corporation that, as you all know, if you're all adults, how much time people spend in meetings and doing reports and this insane amount of bullshit and bureaucracy that exists. It is impossible to get anything done. No wonder, for example, that companies like Merck and Monsanto, the ones that are trying to kill everybody with genetically modified foods, get most of their innovation, and Pfizer, by gobbling up smaller firms that can actually get something done because they're not sitting there in meetings 24 hours a day. Here's a small one, Diffusion. And what they're doing is another one of these cancer fighting chemotherapy assistant drugs. But everybody's trying to fight cancer. It's just called immunotherapy, where the targeted therapy is more geared to your own immune system. And again, you don't have to be an expert at it, but what you know is that this isn't some newsletter pump and dump. Okay, and there's tons of companies that are doing all sorts of interesting things, and they're in this kind of space. Okay, they're in the smaller space that you would never hear about on CNBC, because CNBC is an elite broadcasting network. They talk about FOMC and things that matter to the elite that holds like all their stuff in bonds. But speculators, people who are, again, have that genetic makeup, who want something more from life than just sitting in a cubicle and working for the man, we explore. And this is where exploration happens. The cure for cancer or Alzheimer's, Brad, is going to happen in the stock market. Okay, it's going to be companies like, although that one's good, I meant to say this one, like Cure, which is doing something with brain stem cells.
I promise you, Dan, we're going to see it first here before we read about it or hear about it on TV.
But that's the one I'm trying to wake up again, everybody, listen to me. This is so important. Okay, this is not the .com bubble bullshit. This isn't pets.com opening a website and everybody talking about e-commerce. Although, by the way, notice that Amazon has eaten everybody. They just happen to have taken every business of e-commerce over almost. They are e-commerce world instead of Amazon. Soon they'll change their name. I have that patented, I believe. But my point being is this is another revolution and innovation in the being at the right place at the right time with technology. Like the way, think about what Trade Ideas is doing in processing data. I know we're the best in it for us, but universities have access to quantum computers and other computers that can do things, although much less efficiently, I'm sure, but on a much larger scale. So you're getting these breakthroughs in treatments and therapies that are happening way faster than like what the normal quote unquote expectation is, which is everyone's got these two numbers in their brain, 5 years, 10 years. It all comes with the same take the red pill, get out of the matrix theme that we've been talking about, which is, ladies and gentlemen, the world is not long-term invest. And if you want to have wealth, diversifying in an index fund is not the way you get it. This is the way you get it. And this is the only way. Is it guaranteed? Hell no. There's no guarantee that I'm going to walk out of this room. May float out, Brad, but not walk out.
Maybe we should tell some people what we're looking at here.
Okay, so you are on the Trade Ideas AI channel. Okay, so this is how we broadcast our signals from our artificial intelligence engine. And today, this is the engine. These are the amount of algorithms that made the cut. So our algorithms compete with each other for what's called the quantitative combine, also patented. They compete amongst themselves and only the best make it. And so today we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get rid of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strategies that ended up being active and lots of success. As you can see, both risk on and risk off. That's a win-win for everybody. That statistically speaking, you can't just randomly guess that well, because we know that the SPY was only up 24 cents today. So assuming our risk off, our worst case scenario was, over 5x that, 7 rather. And in the best case scenario, you just had so much opportunity. But what I wanted to do, Brad, is kind of go over it a little bit more as it happens. Okay, so let me just kind of move that out of the way. And I'm going to make these a little bit bigger so people can see it a little bit better. And we can just get rid of this altogether because we don't need it. So Brad, at 6:41 a.m., now this is West Coast time because I am on the West Coast. The first heartbeat alert, or the first alert from the strategy, was EMES. Let me zoom out. At 12.98. So this happened at 6:41, and the entry price was, the price of the alert was at 12.98. This is where the price was. Here's what it did afterwards. Went all the way to 346, then on the next candle to 359, pulled back to 12.97 for a flat, and then ran all the way back up. So in 6 minutes, our software had instructed you in the risk off mode called profit save that you can lock in your 25 cents. You would have had a chance to pick it back up 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, almost an hour later at roughly about the same price. You would have done that because the mode that our software works in, I want you to bring this guy back so you can see it, is what's called risk on and risk off. So our software doesn't just watch the market, and this is why, again, it is so critical to understand this. It's not just watching the market. It's also watching itself. So it's watching its own performance, and it's seeing what it's doing, and it kind of tries to sense it. And so it tells you, hey, right now, today, being more risk tolerant helps you. The volatility is working for you. Or on days that it's not, risk off is higher. And the whole time, it's always telling you which is the proper action so that you know if you should be back in some names or not. So it's this constant feedback. So in risk off mode, which is holding it, risk on mode, which is holding it till the close, which is the desired mode, you could have gotten 51 cents out of it. The next trade, in this case, happened 1 minute after EMES, and this was an FNCX. And the entry price was 58 cents. And again, in risk off mode, you would have got out 5 minutes later for 4 cents, probably a flat with the spread, but nothing much happened and nothing much happened thereafter. And again, I'm just giving you a play-by-play, like this is what you would have seen.
But Dan, let me pause you right there because that's what happened today, right? But it's something that should really be on your watch list because this often will precede some type of movement, just like in that stock you were talking about earlier, EFFN.
Well, totally. But Brad, I'm going to come back to that. I just kind of wanted to give people a little bit of a feel because, we jump so quickly into the other functions. And I wanted to simply just kind of go slow, gently hold their hand through what it feels like on a day where you get, here's 1 minute, and there's basically one trade a minute at this rate. By the way, this is not what normally happens, but it just happened today. So on this next one was an SEDG. And in this particular case, the software thought it was going to be breaking out. It didn't. And there was a 20-cent loss. And again, it tells you to get out because it says, hey, I'm out. Stop it. Next one. This is, Brad, the reason I'm doing it this way is because so that people kind of get a feel. So at this point, if you were just doing risk off, you're kind of flat if you're getting it perfectly. So if you're really doing it, you're probably down a few cents, maybe 5, 10 even, okay? JSO, another one, thought it was going to go break out. And look at this thing from 5. You can see why the AI is thinking this, right? You can tell that something is going on. And this thing, if the trend could get reversed, you're seeing a huge potential for, again, potential energy. Where has it been? How far away has it been there? This is connected by physics, which people don't really, for some reason, like to think about. There's a potential energy between this price and this price in a holographic reality we call the visualization of this price chart. Why was it here? There were some reasons. Look at the volume coming in. It's trying to change its behavior. It's failed here and here, so not to be trusted specifically, but again, you never know. This could be the one. And that's what the software is trying to tell. It's trying to tell you, that's what I'm picking up on, because all of a sudden, that's when a buyout rumor happens or something else. Next trade. You're still, with JSO, you're again down 10. Let's call it you're down 20, even though here you'd be flat. BLCM, Brad, you pick up at 12.88. And this thing, 16 minutes gave you 13 cents. That's like somewhere around there, I guess. But by that time, you again, you have some flexibility with what you want to do. And we teach this in the trading room, and Barry and I talk about it all the time. You can, of course, just take it if you want to follow it as strictly as you want to. But
that trade right there, BLCM, it was a great signal, and it just got you out in the risk-off mode on the pullback. But the reality is that thing moved up to what, about 1280? So getting at 1220 with a nice move up, it's a great signal.
But also, you can also get out of, there's tons of different risk management ways that you can interpret these signals. What we're trying to say is our signals happen to be the best, and I'm trying to show people why.
Yeah.
So, okay, so BLCM. Then you start getting into some, interesting percentages. COGT. Again, look at the big picture and the little picture together. There's a lot more that we are hunting here than simply only, 10 cents. The moves here that we're trying to go for are points and double and 300, 200%. That's where the possibilities lie. That's what is happening in this market, why it is the best market that we believe we've seen in a long, long time if you open your eyes and understand what's available. And again, notice what our software is showing you. So here, as Brad was saying before, our AI, you can do a couple of things with it. So you can right click on this and send this to a symbol list. And for example, one of them can be Dan Holly. So I can follow Holly stocks separately, just, by having a symbol list of them. Another thing you can do is right on the chart, you can see where you are and you can say, okay, so I missed it, but if it really starts to go, I'm going to add it with our alerts, where you can say, I want to go long at 365, roughly around there, because this thing wants to really go. I'm very specific on why I show this complexity of sentence structure and calculus when I write the reason. Brad, I'm so happy that my humor is finally hitting its mark. Thank you very much. Yes, there you go. A little laughter. Thank you. But
everybody would be if you could hear the audience, I'm sure.
Oh, I know. Everyone's just clapping away. But the point is, it's real. We want to believe, because we've been painted a picture of a bunch of PhDs sitting in quant rooms, behind curtains, like testing with test tubes, and none of that is real. Think more Doyle Brunson at a poker room. That's what it's really like. Okay. So COGT, again, look at what we're trying to do. Now I have an alert for this. So if this goes, whether the AI catches it or not, it's been introduced to me. So I'm now one with the AI. Okay. DRAM 709. Again, you can see what's trying to happen. I already have an alert for this one because I've been watching it before. I mean, look at what could be taking place. This is still, Brad, what do we say? Just simple potential energy. Instead of clouding your brain with 3 letters like RSI or 4 letters like MACD, or with these magical Elliott waves and Wang lines and all this other stuff.
Well, it's really important to know, based on history, that a stock like this and any other stock can really move that number of points in a really short period of time. There's a big percentage possibility to be made.
That's right. Right. And here, it's not about the buy and hold. Hey, I'm going to buy and hold it for 20 years. It's you're going to buy it. If you're lucky enough to hold it for 5 days, you might have made 300%. That's the game.
Well, we're trying to make, maximum efficiency of capital so that you're not just sitting in something while it's dead wood, right? You want it to be moving and making money, working for you, if you will.
Absolutely. So look at this other one, okay? Synacor, data processing, hosting. Again, think people that are innovating. I mean, this thing is breaking the hell out. I mean, although the AI didn't make anything on it, well, it can give you something really important. So when this thing broke out above here, you might see a test of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, come back to me, little baby. That's like kind of my Al Pacino, Brad. A little Scarface.
Stick to the trading, big boy.
All right. But you see what I'm saying? That, everybody, the more multifaceted you are, again, the more angles that you can look at simultaneously, the better you end up doing. Okay, so you missed it, but there is no reason, nothing says that it's not going to come back to you. So what's happening here is, I'm not just saying, hey, I'm going to go buy it and chase it, let it come back to me. If not, then hey, I missed it. But if it does, then this could be a good level of support. Because the last time it got out of here, it really sprang. Next one. So we don't only look at just small stocks. We're looking at alpha. Okay, look at Dover. It's had a fairly amazing run. So the software is seeing that more amazing things could happen. This was the entry. Okay, and it had a small 8-cent gain on a profit save, which again would have been kind of a flat. But in this particular case, in the risk on mode, which I think you're close to getting into, it had a nice run. CRC, you can again see what we're trying to see. So the software is designed to pick this up. Here's the move. It's happening right here. It got you in. This was a little bit longer on profit save, which, by the way, that profit save mode, Brad, you know it's getting a complete makeover.
I do know that, yes.
And everybody here should be kind of excited about that. It's going to get a lot better. Won't have the shorter time frames will probably disappear. So, but again, look at the percentages on the risk on side. Then you had the DD, another one that was just DuPont, big stock. Different algorithms look for different things. So the star of the day happened at 8:22. So this is a strategy called wake up call because it's looking for the initiation of the movement on a behavioral point of view. Here you had almost a 38 or 40-minute, actually 46-minute hold, 30 cents, which is again still very nice on a percentage basis, and 56 cents in risk on mode, which the software would have been telling you because it's doing its own calculation that you're in risk on mode really pretty much the whole time. So
I just love the entry on that one. You know, it's great to get into a position that never really sees the negative side. It's exactly
right. No, it's beautiful. And this is another one where you can say, come back. If you believe that you missed it. Because again, just nice test area. That's what they do behaviorally sometimes. Can't predict the future. SUP, again, not just playing the small stocks. And another all-star of the hour. And again, this is, what can we say, man? I mean, number one, people just aren't covering these names. This is the reason why we showed you about our partner who's trying to write stories, and we're helping them come up with stories about better stocks, because look at what's happening. Who else is covering this? Nobody. Nobody is covering these names, and look at the alpha potential. 71 cents on a time stop. That means it went the whole time. Really, basically, Brad, a time stop means it really never went against you. And it's nice when a time stop has your biggest winner there. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but that's really kind of how it went. Boom, 21, and then it had 2 negative trades towards the end of the day. The total performance was $3 in pure risk on and $1.53 half in risk off, compared to the 24 cents on the S&P.
So Dan, I know you had a giveaway today. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that and then maybe take some questions from the guys.
Okay, totally. So guys, remember, we're here to show you why we are the only and proper approach. So the way we do this, like, what is it? If I go back, I want to show you where the heck is it, Brad? Hold on. Okay, so everyone sees the Breaking Vegas slide. What does Breaking Vegas look like? That's a good question. Well, we're going to show you right now on this webinar. What does it look like to break Vegas? Well, you go to our database and you comb through about 1 million trades an evening. And as a result of combing through those 1 million trades, you get what's called a pocket of probability. And this is what a pocket of probability looks like. See all of these things? These things are things that are created by our artificial intelligence. Derek, you don't have to see it as alien, I promise you, because it's super simple.
So Dan, those are, to be fair, those are the filters inside of trade ideas, but the AI is using it to adjust the different.
People don't need to worry about that. Look at that thing. It just wants to keep going, Brad. It likes the results so much that it can't stop itself with the speed. How many times do you think I can do that, Brad?
I don't know, but did you restart when I told you to?
No.
Why don't you do it real quick? Just save your desktop and start it again.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to show you the trade ideas is really to get easy to get going. I'm going to hit X. I'm going to save layout. And now I will go back to trade ideas. And hopefully everything will come back. And sure enough, it's almost as if I knew what I was doing. Almost. All right, so now I'm going to right click, backtest the strategy, hit simulate buy. So what we're doing is we're showing you the results of a final run of our AI, because obviously, like, why it's showing you how the AI is changing the spark plugs and, you know, digging through the scrap metal of noisy, yucky stuff. That's not going to do anybody any good. Come on, girl, you can do it. One last. I believe, Brad, do you?
Yeah, it'll work.
Oh, yeah, I believe that was on downstroke. Brad, I think you weren't really a believer. Okay, so this is what breaking Vegas looks like. Most of you have never ever seen anything like this because it doesn't exist anywhere but trade ideas. Here's what it is. We created a signal stream like this. CLVT today happened at 12:21, so like 40 minutes before the close at a price of $49.40. And what we did was, bear with me 1 second here. I have to move the questions panel, Brad, because it was in the middle of my thing. So then we asked our software, we said, software, what happens when this event takes place, and what happens like 45 minutes after the close? Like, how long can I hold this event that you tell me is good? What are my successful odds with all of your magic in it? I know it's not the best way to say it, but basically this is Holly going through all of the million trades and saying, whoa, Dan, Brad, if you really want to kick some butt, and I know you do, here's how I would do it. I would use this number, this number, this number, this number, this number, this RSI number, this RSI hourly number, and then something about ADX and something about the futures. And if you combine all of that in the tastiest alpha stew, then this is what you get. And this is what it looks like on a daily basis. So you started, actually, you lost a little bit, nothing happened, lost, and then you kicked butt, lost, one a little, one better, lost a little, then you really started getting going. And this is what the strategy looks like. Today, Brad and I are giving this strategy to everybody at this webinar. You, of course, need to be a subscriber, and to access this part, it is a premium feature of the premium subscription. But let's not mince words. Look at what we're doing here. A profit factor of 3.92 and a 70% success rate? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. That's about as good as it gets. Now, what our AI does is that our AI takes something like this And then it attempts to keep maintaining this because new data comes in tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow. So the AI does what's called machine learning. It's like, hey, today when the market went down, it reversed really quickly and ran up. And tomorrow it's like when the market ran up, it reversed really quickly and went down. And it tries to look at all of that and then see, has anything started behaving differently? And if not, then it maintains the strategy and the statistics remain. So let me show you how we do it. This is, again, part of why we're the fastest growing subscription service. Right click. We have this thing called save and share to the cloud. I'm going to hit save and share. I hit copy. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it into the chat. Scott, you can get it from there also. And of course, I'm going to also put it in this so that anyone can copy and paste it from Mike C's question. But the bottom line is, this is the only way to do it. If you're not doing it this way, you will be beaten by our customers who are doing it this way. And I'm only saying that not to brag, but I'm just saying, scientifically speaking, if you're trying to speculate, the only way to do it is with large amounts of data. Fundamental data is mostly already included in all of the price action. But what we are listening for is the percolation of news, the adjustments of supply and demand, things that we cannot see or predict, but that we can watch and react to. So while nobody can predict the future, there is no such thing. That if anyone says, hey, and that's why it's so disgusting when I hear it on CNBC as these guys talk about, oh, this market's overbought, or oh, this market's oversold. I mean, just mathematically speaking, those things are asinine. It's just relative to some random ratio that they came up with, they want you to be aware of so that you just keep, swallowing their expertise. That's what the game is about. But we're trying to set you free. And again, you don't have to use the AI only. We have tons of channels just for all sorts of things where interesting things start to happen. Okay, what do interesting things look like? Like this. This is where exploration is taking place, where the innovation is again, remember the finish, coming back to where we started, the stock market is the currency of innovation. If there's a company that's innovating, the way they can get that innovation valued, they can either just make cash, which is one way to do it. By the way, Brad, do you know a company that does that?
I'm sorry, buddy. I was tuning out. I was answering some questions.
Yeah, Brad, you're a terrible assistant talk show host guy.
Yes, Dan. Yes, of course.
No, I was saying the stock market is the currency of innovation, but I was simply explaining that. So there's two ways to give yourself value. One is to make cash as a company. Are you aware of any companies that does that?
No.
I know one. I think you work for it. That's one way to do it. It's like Trade Ideas. We are a cash business. We make money. You subscribe. We make money. We are a profitable business. We innovate that way. That's why I don't have to have board meetings and idiots around me and just talk to the customer, create value, do a lot of fun stuff. Well, another way you can do it is that you can go public and have people value your intellectual property. That's what these people are doing.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here. Trade Ideas doesn't need to be public because we make cash. If you don't make a lot of cash, you could still value your intellectual inventive property that way. So going back to DFFN, okay, this company, it's not about the cash situation. We have more cash than them. And we are technically a bigger market cap. But the point being is that they're trying to do something really good for the world if they can do it. Helping to stop cancer. And that's why it's good to have our technology to see these companies. That way you open your eyes beyond simply just the speculative aspect of it. That doesn't mean you love them or that you're a long-term investor, but you understand that there's that underneath layer of what's happening. This is a monetization of intellectual property. You can participate with Trade Ideas data. Curing cancer, curing Alzheimer's, new technological inventions, they happen at the smaller scale. Large companies cannot innovate. It's impossible, especially when they have to compete with small companies like Trade Ideas. I mean, come on, that's why you can't see this stuff on Thinkorswim.
So hey, Dan, to the end of innovation, right? What you're talking about. So Jim's asking a question about the Alpha Predator stream that we have. The Alpha Predator channel, which is a new channel, and this is something that we do all the time as far as adjusting the views and the windows. And that Alpha Predator stream is just a multi-strategy window. I don't know how many strategies it may have in it, but it's just looking at some of the very same information that Alpha Predator top list window is looking at, but it's giving it to you in a stream form, in an event-based type of activity.
Like, hey, something's happening now. I mean, Brad, I really like that because, again, it's kind of like a different way that you could, like, we have to speak with these windows, right? Eventually, we could have some voice saying, everyone, look at MagnaChip. It's behaving in a way that I think is interesting, but in reality, that's a lot of noise. So what we do it is with windows that either speak purely numerically, like the top list window, where you're just kind of saying, okay, I am looking at the rate of change, and I want to see the ones that are changing the most in my speculative direction up front. You can never miss it that way. And then there's the pure behavior, like, hey, it's running. I mean, there's more than that in this thing, but that's the idea, is that there's lots of different ways that you can fish. And that's where, again, active investing starts to collide with pure speculative pursuits like poker or blackjack, where, again, where you can count cards, where it's real. It's the art of science meeting art. And that's the best of the human world. You feel like literally everything. When the big boys do announce interest rates, you feel it. Somebody thinks there's some, terrorist attack, you feel it in the stock market. Brad, we've said this in the 90s. There's virtually no other way to feel the world as you are an active investor in the stock market. That's why we're just...
You have a pulse on everything that's happening. It's a good thing. Hey, let's take Jason's question. Do me a favor, go to the Holly channel, and he's asking a question about full automation. And right now, we're not allowing these signals to be fully automated, but we have set up a really nice integration with Interactive Brokers, the Trader Workstation product, that allows you really to right-click on any of these signals and send a predefined order right to IB. But we have that, and then we also have an automated platform that allows you to create an alert window or take any alert window and drop it into it for full automation. But that's not Holly just yet.
Like here, I'm bringing over an aspect of the automation strategy configuration from Brokerage Plus, where you can basically do everything you do with the odds maker. And again, this is for people who are really into kind of, want to tinker. So you can create all sorts of orders and defaults. You can import your windows, et cetera, et cetera. And again, you time the exits exactly like you would when you were testing them in the odds maker. So strategies that you have worked yourself, you can automate already. And as well as what you're seeing here, when I right click on like a symbol, these are some of the strategies that I have. Buy 5,000 at market, at limit, and here's the shares version, 200 and 200 short. So I can do that as soon as I see a trade, boom, boom, boom.
All right, Dan, let me take this question here from Aaron. Great question. We spent a lot of time talking about the premium product. Let's spend just a smidge of time talking a little bit about the standard product, because I don't want people to think that it's not very powerful. We've been doing this for about 14 years, right? And for most of that time, it's that non-premium functionality that was the real core and genesis of Trade Ideas. Access to the alert window, the top list, the multi-strategy, You have access to all of the same alerts and filters that you would if you were using the premium. You just don't have the odds maker, the price alerts, or the Holly artificial intelligence. But you can create any of these great windows that really highlight what's happening in the market at any given time.
100%. And again, I believe even the basic version is so powerful to get you to the right data points that there's no question it's worth. This alpha predator is in there. I mean, trade the gap is in there. Surge. These are things that Brad and I specifically work on to make sure they are valuable, knowing that not everybody can afford the premium product for whether it's time or money aspect of it. So this is all designed to work. You're going to see some overlap. There's just no question. And don't forget to surf down, because there's just so many things. Your earnings already done. Up with earnings today, down with earnings today. We cover the fundamental data points, so you can just see where, who's got the money, the market cap, all sorts of different things, and see how they relate to what's happening in the market. Whatever research you want to do, we kind of give you the ability to dive into it, whether it's fundamental or technical. But the bottom line really becomes the fact that you have to have this data. You have to have the data points to differentiate you from everywhere else, and that's what we do.
Yeah, and everything on that channel bar is for the standard, with the exception of the Holly AI channel. Okay,
so let's go back to there was a couple of questions about the AI, and so let's go back to them. First of all, the one question was, when Holly gives you a trade, does she give you the entry price? So this is why I had this window like this before, and I kind of even removed this one. So you get the signal at 7. Obviously, the exit time hasn't happened yet. Okay, so it's blank. You have the strategy name, the symbol, the last price that it's at, and your entry price. The exit price is blank because you're still in it, and then you're tracking all of these profits. Exit reason is blank because you're still in it. So that's what you would see, so you get all of that. And right away, you can right click, boom, and here. This can be at market, at limit. This is just the way I wrote the name. But it can be any kind of strategy that you want to put into effect based on that other window that I had. But we have simple things for you. So again, you can just follow them one at a time by hand right now. But I think, Brad, we will move to automation. I think the demand for that is so high. And, listen, whatever the slippage is, people will have to learn how to deal with it.
Looks that way. No, for sure. Just taking it in steps right now, right?
Okay, so Nicole was asking, do I believe all of these new windows can lead to paralysis by analysis? Well, paralysis by analysis can only be done by the individual. The new windows really, as far as this window is concerned, this is like a summary window, like your weather temperature window. It's not going to fluctuate too much. You just want to know what's going on. These are all feel windows. You have to ultimately, of course, learn your own flow. What are you or are you not comfortable with? But the idea is that in the stock market is to learn to see, sense, and go.
I think, for people that are just starting out using this technology, it's really one of the great benefits of our trading room, where you can see Barry using it throughout the day. Now, everybody's a different style trader, but this is just one example of someone who's using a variety of windows to engage in the market, to take a look at what's moving. He looks at a chart and makes a decision, and that's something that you do have to learn. But watch Barry in the room, because it's really a very good way to see how someone takes, not every AI signal. He'll take the signal, he'll look at it, it may set a price alert on it, may look at it a little bit later, a lot of different ways.
Yeah, there's tons of different ways to do it, but again, the key is there's no magic bullet. Ultimately, the biggest fear is the fear that you have of actually entering, and what you have to do is learn to go BCLM and go, meaning that you feel comfortable that you can handle the risk. The better you are at that, the better you become as an investor, because there's no amount of crisscrossy lines or other kind of crazy stuff or something that you need to read, because by the time you've read it, everybody's read it. That's
Hey,
what that
Dan,
guy said.
do me a favor, right click on your BLCM right there and show me your trade menu. So Dan has it. Okay, so you do have some options there at dollar value, and
Yeah.
Aiden's asking a question about how you can get in based on a price of a stock that may differ from another price, and you can set that up to $10,000 or $5,000 per transaction or a share quantity.
Yeah, you can do both. I mean, I believe that's the only way to, it's either done with share dollar amount. If you put in the same dollar amount, then your percentages are the same. And if you feel like you like a certain amount of shares, then you can play the shares game.
So do you have a Trader Workstation open right now, Dan?
I do.
You want to bring in the global configuration window? I think, it's a pretty simple setup. It's really just one particular window, the global configuration.
Okay, so what do we do?
So right here, you go to the API, go to the API option, yep, and then settings. And you just want to make sure that that very top selection is set up, enable ActiveX in sockets. You want to make sure that the read-only API is unchecked. That's the third option down. That's about it. The socket port, it really varies depending on whether you're demo or whether you're live. You shouldn't need to adjust that. The Brokerage Plus client should automatically log in to the correct port based upon whether you're connecting as a live trader or a demo trader. So we do have a video of this, Jim, on our page, on the IB Brokerage Plus page, where you can see.
Maybe somebody can pop that into one of the links. But yeah, it's really the whole thing, guys. It's pretty easy, and again, it's also going to be in the video that we are creating of this particular webinar. So all of this will be in the end there. So that is the bottom line. This is the way to do it. If you wanna, you will never not be in stocks that you should not be in. Because again, imagine people say, well, Dan, you're catching the biotechs now, but what would have happened during the mortgage crisis? Well, I simply explain this. And again, this goes back to the blackjack situation. Holly has both long and short strategies. And the ones that appear are the ones that win numerically. In other words, you're seeing her trade long because that's what's been statistically more profitable over the near term. If all of a sudden after a month, which by the way, the AI could the AI not be profitable for a month? We doubt it, but I mean, in theory it could happen.
Well, anything's possible, but it's not based on the history that we.
Right. Well, the thing is that because she's learning faster than we are learning, right? She's always going to go to the path of least resistance. So while you might be this very bullish, she's going to have 6 short strategies and 2 long ones, and shorting stuff and winning, and that teaches you which way to go. So there's 2 things that are happening. Not only is she your virtual analyst, and not only is she giving you selections based on big data, but she's playing them the way that she thinks is the safest way for you to play them, and therefore is your teacher, your guide, your mentor, Sensei, Yoda. Darth Vader?
Not Darth Vader.
Not Darth Vader. So that's what it is. That's the way that, that's the enlightened way to approach stock market speculation. You start with the pre-market, what's gapping up, what's gapping down. And then we move from there.
What's nice is that there's another new channel, that Trade the Gap channel, kind of looks at those gappers and creates strategies based off of that.
Yeah, people kind of, Brad, you and I, we tried to express this, that we are not simple. This is beyond screening and scanning. We are creating the new matrix of stock market data. We're visualizing it for you in a way that is the proper way to interact with it. You want to be seeing this, not the stuff that's being displayed by our vendor competitors. No offense to them.
All right, I think we're caught up here in the question area. Maybe bring Scott back.
Scott, sir?
There's my mute button. I found it.
Let's see. Let me see. Scott, maybe a quick, before Scott gets on, just a quick 2-second thing is that Brokerage Plus for IB, what I've been showing you, the right click and auto trading Holly and all that stuff, it is currently in beta. What does that mean and why is this important for you is because while it's in beta, it is being grandfathered for free to everyone. So what does that mean? With a premium subscription, you get this IB robot all to yourself. You get the training, everything for free. Once it goes live, once it's in the actual version of Trade Ideas and not the beta version, it will cost a one-time $1,088 fee. So that's what you're doing for being our helpers, our early adopters. You get it for free. It will still be way worth it even at $1,088. But right now, with your premium subscription, you get this for free. Scott, take it away.
All right, thanks. In addition to Brokerage Plus, we also have a new podcast. This Friday will be officially our episode number 13 of regular episodes plus 4 special episodes. You can find it by going to your favorite podcast app and searching for Trade Ideas Podcast. If you search for Trade Ideas Podcast in any of them like iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, pretty much any of the apps, if you search for it, you can find it and subscribe. And that way you get the fresh episode as soon as it's available. We'll also send you an email on Friday with a link to our blog post that also highlights that. And we appreciate everyone that's subscribing and listening, continuing to grow it. And it's really a good resource there. Every episode's a little different and interesting. We also have a discount code for you. If you go to your handouts panel, you can also download some of these slides by finding where it says handouts on your GoToWebinar interface and clicking the little arrow or plus sign and then downloading. The code Yes to Holly takes 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas, so you can save on that first installment. Even Trade Ideas Standard, both Standard and Premium, but kind of amazingly Standard, also includes a full hour of one-on-one training. And that's a fantastic way to get started. So after you've signed up and watched some of the videos, attended the trading room with Barry, and you have some questions, write those questions down, then go to support and training and schedule your training webinar, and then you can go ahead and have that one-on-one session with your trainer of choice. Any questions, email us info@trade-ideas.com. You can get Dan directly, Dan at, or Brad at. You follow Dan, Trade Ideas 1 on Twitter. We also have @Trade Ideas and some other handles as well. If you stay tuned to a bunch of our stuff, you'll find them all. Facebook.com/Trade Ideas Pro is where to find us on the Facebook. So if you follow our page there, you'll get some original content that you can share with your friends. The 619 phone number is an excellent resource if you have any billing questions. However, if you have a question about using Trade Ideas or how to construct a scan, a trading question, send that to info@trade-ideas.com. That goes to our help desk software and gets routed to the best team member to answer your question as quickly as we can. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Dan and Brad. And we'll see some of you tomorrow in the Thursday webinar, so keep tuned for that invite.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, everyone.